Hi and welcome to another video of SQL tips, and today we're going to cover how you can search for particular objects in a database that you want to query. How you can search for a list of tables and columns. If, for example, you want a column of a particular name or data type and you don't want to have to trawl through the entire Object Explorer looking for it, or have to consult a big long data dictionary document, or you may not have a data dictionary at your disposal. So how can you search for these sort of things? Now, in the Object Explorer, you've got your below tables, you've got your views folder there. If we expand that down. Now, if you're not sure about what a view is, I've done another video of that in my channel, so check that out. So you've got your views, and then you've got a folder here for system views. So these are views that are not created by the user for the benefit of users. They come with every database. And there's lots of them. Now, what these views are they're views that basically select from certain system parts of your data file to get you all sorts of cool stuff. I'm going to draw your attention to, now the schema that owns these views is sys dot something. And if we scroll down to sys dot schemas, and if we query that, it does just what it suggests. It gets us a list of all the schemas in the AdventureWorks database. If you're not familiar with that database, I'll put a link in the comments as to how to download it. But these are the schemas that you would find: human resources, person, sales, purchasing, that sort of thing. There is another really cool view, and it is, if I can just find it, sys.objects. So I'm going to query sys.objects, and we'll see what's inside it. Okay, what do we got here? Well, basically, sys.objects is a list of, among other things, tables and some programming objects like stored procedures and things like that. Now, for example, if I really scroll down here, shift, that is a table. How do we know that? Because its type description is user table. So there's all these different types of objects, and if I just query that type description column, we can see the types of objects that are in the sysobjects table. Okay, so we've got system table. Obviously, they are tables that are system related. You can't delete them. There's user table. User table is just that. It's the tables that are down here. They are created as part of the business application. What else have we got? Triggers. Again, that's some fairly advanced stuff. They're programming objects. But user table is the main thing we are interested in. So if I limit my query to user table, and there we have it. There is a list of our tables. Great. Now, that gives us the name. To get the schema that it relates to, well, we've got a foreign key ID here, schema ID. So if we wanted to get the name of the table and its schema, we would have to join from sysobjects to sys.schemas and join on that schema ID. But there is an easier way to do that, and I'll come to that in a second. Now, what about columns? How can we query columns? Because these are just the actual tables. How can we get the columns? Well, there's another view, and called, as you probably guessed, sys.columns. So if I select from that, right, well, there you have it. There's the name of all the columns, and it's every column in the entire database. Lots and lots of them. What else have we got here? We've got a type ID. That links to another column that stores the types, and again, that's the foreign key to join on. There's a few other bits of information here, like for real type or numeric type data types, the length, the precision, that sort of thing. Fairly interesting bunch of information there. But again, if I wanted to get a simple query that listed the name of the table that this column was a part of, I would have to join on, it's actually this column here, object ID. This is the ID of the object from the objects table, obviously. So if we're going to get the column, the table that the column belongs to, you join to sys.objects on that. Now, this is all a little bit convoluted because there's lots of everything split up between tables and we have to join. Is there a simpler way to do that? Well, there is, because there is actually another view, a view of a view, and this is a very handy tool. It's a whole bunch of views way up the top here, and these views are within a different schema again, information underscore schema. So let's go check these out. So what have we got here? Information schema dot columns. So let's select from that and see what happens. Okay, so what does that get us? Wow, check that out. Okay, you've got a view of some sort. There is the column name, and there is the table name ready for us, and even the schema that table belongs to. So that's a very handy view. It's literally a one-stop shop for everything you could possibly need. So column, table name, schema, all down there. And if we actually go over here, we've even got the data type. Instead of joining off to another table via a foreign key, you've got the data type listed right there. So I could quite easily get a list of all the date time columns in the database. And there we go. So lots and lots of date columns. Now this sort of thing may come in very, very handy when you get into really advanced forms of SQL programming with things like stored procedures and triggers, where you may want to scan a table for a whole list of column names and do some sort of really whiz-bang dynamic queries where you develop the query on the fly based on programming inputs and things like that. A fairly advanced topic which we'll cover later in the channel. So have some fun with information schema.columns. Now, for a complete course in everything you could need to know about SQL and queries, check out my Skillshare course, and that will give you a complete rundown on SQL, and you can go in with absolutely no skills whatsoever and come out with enough industry-level skills to be able to take on any sort of query task you could possibly think of. And if you use the link in the comments, you will be able to get your first 2 months membership in Skillshare free. So go check that out, and I'll catch you in the next video.